Warning.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
Did you know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
We had less technical issues than $1 million company.
All right!
This is Boards and Swords.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Boards and Swords. Sorry, my cat just realized the Pixels dice lights up and decided to play with it. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast featuring bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop games as well. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Chris Renshaw, and I'm going to throw it over... Whoop, wrong screen. If I can pick the right one. There we go. I'm going to send it over there for my co-host, Mr. Philip Obrig.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday. Welcome to St. Patty's Day. Okay, my background's green.
Does it help if like this thing is green and it's
the light flashes green a little bit sometimes? That'll probably work.
So, and as you may have teased here, by the way, I just got to say that like what you didn't see when the intro was playing was like the cat kept looking at the dice, and so I was trying to like hit it so that it would glow, and then he'd really get involved. But every time my hand got close, he kept like clawing at my hand and like trying to bite me. So like I'm trying not to make noise during the intro. But joining in this week we have Jean from the gamewithpixels.com or Pixels Dice. How are you doing today?
Good. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I got fortunate enough that he was willing to jump in because it was like last week scrambling trying to get guests since our list had run out. So we're lucky for that. But for people that aren't aware about Pixels Dice, can you give us just a quick pitch on the dice?
Absolutely. They are light up dice like these guys here that are very highly customizable. They can light up all kinds of different colors and also have Bluetooth, so you can connect them to your favorite virtual tabletop or your house, smart house things and control things with your dice, right? So you can change the light in your room based on what you roll, as well as just sending the rolls over to like a Roll20 or just your local D&D Beyond installation.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the excitement in Philip's eyes right now as he's just realized.
I never thought about connecting it to smart house stuff.
Yeah, no, we have a few people on our Discord that have actually done that already. And there's a few like, just through the app, you can already use webhooks and, some easy things. So like if you've ever used, what are they called? Like the if this, then that, or Zapier, I think is another one, or whatever, the things where you can like connect things together, right? Yeah. Then, you could have the dice like control lights or, start music or something. We definitely want to do more of it like first party, like directly from the app and from your phone and stuff, but until we do you can already do it just with those external services and stuff. It's super cool, like all the lights dimming red when you roll in that one is just it's
all right, really we've lost Philip for the rest of this episode. He's going to be like pulling up stuff, doing research for the what?
This is great.
Yes.
All right, well, we're going to get to talking more about the dice, but first, we've got some news. All right, this first game and this first story will be simply the best. So Goliath Games
better than all the rest.
Yeah, Goliath Games is partnering with The Sims for a new board game. My first thought when this was kind of like, we haven't done that already? Like, that seemed like a very, like, maybe not first wave of video game, like second wave. But Goliath Games has partnered with The Sims to produce a new board game. 2025 is a big year for The Sims as we celebrate its 25th birthday. This is another way to expand the Sims world and engage in our incredible fan base as we grow the Sims entertainment platform. It's slated for retail release in summer 2025, which is weird if it's slated for summer, but there's no real details other than just that we're making a game based on The Sims.
I was just about to ask that actually. There is nothing. That's all they did is release the announcement.
They just did the
not even
announcement. It will attempt to capture the spirit of the video game via gameplay to honor the Sims franchise.
And
I mean,
even clicking on that the Sims word,
Yeah.
that's a hyperlink in the article.
Nah,
It
it's
just
just
takes
like
you to Sims Toys in November.
Yeah.
And that was posted back in 2004.
well, that's just because it's like everything that's been tagged with Sims on this website. So that
Yeah.
was just like the last story about it. But yeah, it is kind of weird that like if this was like a 26 game, this makes sense. Like but I don't even know. I don't know. It's just like a better version of life, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. You know what? Your queue is the Sims entertainment platform. That means this is just a money grab, and they don't actually have a clue what they're building.
It's gonna literally be the game of life, just reskinned with the Sims on it.
Oh, gotcha. So it's going to be Wordle, the board game.
So yeah, I mean, The Sims is a huge franchise. I'm not surprised. I just like.
Yeah, there's tons they could do for sure.
Yeah. But in other big news, Big Chow Creatives launched a frontier on My Mini Factory for a 3D printable version of Hate, the Simon game that was a Kickstarter exclusive. And if I remember right, was designed by Adrian something, the guy that did the artwork for Blood Rage. I remember when that game came out on Kickstarter. It was like a very niche game. It was one of those like perfect for Kickstarter because I doubt it would sell well at retail, but it's very interesting. So, all right, moving on. I thought churches were supposed to be charities, but there are sure a lot of profits around them. All right, so this one's got a little bit of a story I put in here only because of a tie-in. So Necromunda's got this character in the books that they've been doing. It's like Prophet of the Redemption, and it's basically like this fanatic dude that's in the stories. He like leads this revolution, yada yada yada. However, you look at this mini here, and like it is a character definitely. Like it's like your crazy wilderness old man with like a crazy Pope type hat. What are you gonna say, Philip?
I'm digging the combat sandals.
Oh yeah, the combat sandals in there too. So the reason I put this in here is somebody mentioned on a Discord I'm in that they're like, holy crap, they made Vermin Supreme into a miniature. And I need you guys to know. I'm hoping that somebody here knows who Vermin Supreme is. I probably should have pulled this up beforehand. So, like, Vermin Supreme he's one of those like third-party candidates that runs for like every presidential election. And hold on, just give me 1 sec, and I'm gonna pull it up. But like, so. This is this is what the guy looks like.
Great.
So that's what he looks like. And then let me pull back up the guy. Is that not the same dude? But wait, there's more. There's an extra sub layer to this because I went on oh gosh, okay. So, all right, never mind. I went on Blue Sky and I
Your search history there, buddy.
What?
I'm just looking at like what's up with all those open tabs you got there, but it's just random.
Oh, that's sheets.
Okay,
It shows like every sheet you've ever been a part of. And the open tabs is all the news stories, in case you're wondering. But so I took this article and I put it on Blue Sky because I've been posting a lot more on there. And I was just like, ha ha. Somebody pointed out on a Discord that it's basically Vermin Supreme. It got retweeted by the Vermin Supreme Blue Sky account.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Is it shows like him on there, and it's the at least official for a Blue Sky things. But I was just like, oh my god, this is too funny not to talk about.
So I'm on his Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
And the platform is kind of strong. I'm digging it. Okay. You got to pass a law. He's passing a law that requires people to brush their teeth. Okay. I mean, some of you people out there are nasty. Brush your damn teeth. Zombie apocalypse awareness, time travel research, and the thing we all wanted as children. Every single one of us.
Jetpacks.
Free pony for every American.
Oh, never mind.
He's got.
I just don't know where I'd store a pony.
That's right.
Like that's my biggest concern. Can I get like a tax credit instead of a pony?
Really hasn't thought through the logistics of the
Yeah.
the free ponies.
So yeah, I know Necromunda. I talk about Necromunda a lot, but I couldn't. The web way of how deep that situation went was too good not to pass up. Talk about it. I've never. Okay, Rusted Beetle coming in. I've never wanted a pony. All right. I've been on a new diet limiting on how many snacks I eat, but occasionally I tend to Cheeto that diet. This was another one that I was just like, I have to talk about this. This is one you see it and you're just like, how can I not talk about this? But forget Pokemon cards. Someone sold a Charizard-shaped Cheeto for $87,000. And I mean, they're right. It's a Charizard-shaped Cheeto. The unique Pokemon collectible known as Cheetozard. A very stale Cheeto shaped like the Fire-type Final Evolution, sold for close to $88,000. What are we doing with our lives, Philip? We should just be going.
I mean, see, and this is my fat ass because I eat the Cheetos too fast.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I'm not like laying them out on the table and examining their shape.
Yeah. I just love the detail. The detail in here where it's like evolves from Cheeto Alien.
Yeah.
And I think they even changed the symbol for Charmeleon,
yeah.
to look
and
like
then
a
on
Cheeto.
the right hand side, it's like put Cheetozard on stage. I mean, they did it right.
Yeah. But the Flamin' Hot Cheeto in the shape of a Pokemon is now sold for $87,840 via online auction. The snack, which admittedly has a very odd shape and looks a bit like the dragon Pokemon Charizard, went up for sale on the website Golden, never even heard of that before, on February 10th. After going viral, it quickly began to attract surprisingly high bids before selling on March 2nd. So, yeah, we didn't even know food-shaped items like the nostalgic Pocket Monsters could see the same results. Here they say, needless to say, we're going to be eating everything much more carefully from now on.
Uh-huh, yep. I got a bag of Doritos over here. Let me just lay it all out. We have no statistics on the frequency of Cheeto deformities.
Like this thing's even in a case. Look at that.
That's awesome.
I need this to be, what is it, PSA graded? Is that what the
Yes. Can we get a PSA grade on a food item?
I'm sorry, that's only a 7.0. You opened the bag it was in.
Yep, that's a problem.
So yeah, if you ever need to make some money, just go look for let's see, what's next? Doritos that have dust in the shape of Pokemon next.
There we go, yeah.
Or what's other because I mean we've got I feel like the the weird stuff category on eBay is known for like oh look, this stain looks like Jesus. I've seen plenty of those, but it's the first time I'd seen something like this for Pokemon cards. But okay, so this guy I know, Lee, big bonfire at his house. But things got out of hand and there were some accidents. Luckily, no one died to my friend Lee's fire.
We lost him.
Uh,
Although that's a record, I think there, Chris. It took until the 4th news story for our guest to completely dive off camera.
They're so good.
that's the first time that's ever been called. They've been called so good. But Helldivers 2 is getting a board game.
Democracy.
It's crowdfunding next month. It's from Steamforged Games, so I have good hopes for this because Steamforged Games makes a lot of video game board games, and a lot of them usually capture kind of like the feel of the couple that I've played really capture the feel of the board game that they're trying to recreate. Or if I haven't said so, I've played with people who played said game, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is actually really a really good translation of it." So, I don't think there's a lot of details on here, just because there we go. Like they do have a picture of what the was it? I almost said Tyranid, Terminid warrior here.
Terminid, yeah.
The alien enemies will be rendered in plastic. I'm hoping this is a like 4-player like zombicide kind of co-op where it's like here's your scenario, deploy enemies here, here, and here, and like randomize some mission objectives or randomize the board kind of thing, and then kind of go. And you can upgrade like your weapons and what choose what build you're gonna bring in for your different for I forgot what they're called, the throwing things.
The throwing things?
The things you throw and then the things deploy.
Oh, your
Stratagems.
stratagems.
I remember because it's like stratagems and Warhammer. So yeah, they don't seem to last, but like the good news is that like a lot of the IP games, they're just single products. They're not like a minis line. Like he's talking about, Rusty Beal talks about like Wormhole Hordes. That is that's another story in and of itself. But I just want to know. I don't care if the retail version doesn't do this. I need there to be a stretch goal or an option to where they put a music chip in the game so that when I open the lid, it makes the sound of like when the Helldivers deploy, where it's like dun 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 dun.
Yes.
Like, cause that's the best part of Helldivers. And I mean, my exploding kittens that I got, like my first Kickstarter back in 2017, it meows when I open the box. So I don't see how this isn't a completely impossible task here. I was also not surprised. I felt like as soon as Helldivers 2 took off, I was like, someone's gonna make a board game of this.
A board game is inevitable.
Yeah, like no idea who or when or how, but eventually somebody. And it does say there will be friendly fire.
I saw that. I was like, yes, friendly fire.
It will match the fast-paced, tactical, tongue-in-cheek energy of the video game. Looks like it will be more of a arcadey experience than these. Why not? Hallmark's been doing that for decades. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not hard. Also hints at the inclusion. Okay, I saw official trailer and I was like, is that for the game or the board game? But yeah, flamethrowers and machine guns. Just as in the video games, players will need to contend with evolving threats and objectives, as well as watch out for explosions and friendly fire. Players can expect heroic last stands, spectacularly avoidable friendly fire, and the kind of cinematic action that turns every gaming session into a glorious war story. So April 8th is when this goes up on GameFound. I saw a link somewhere. I don't know if it's in the article I've got linked on here, but there is already a link to the Helldivers 2 page. I'll have to include that in the show notes as well. But yeah, I imagine this is gonna like fund immediately.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's like people that buy it and then never play it, but just have it on like their shelf. like that Deep Rock Galactic board game.
Yes. Which they sent out an email or something. There are expansions about to be in Kickstarter or whichever platform they decide.
Nice. Oh, that's right. I think I heard something about that.
Although I'm not backing the mugs.
Why not?
They came out with because they're $50 a piece and they're plastic.
Oh.
If like they look cool, they're the mugs from the game when you're drinking at the bar, but they're $50 a piece and they're plastic.
Just need to get like one and resculpted in like metal.
Yes.
We do happen to know a guy.
We know some people.
Okay, last story. It may be hard to find this new D&D starter set interesting. It is based on Keep on the Board or lands. So we actually kind of briefly hinted at this in our last, because it came out the last episode. So we talked about it briefly in the bonus bits. But they revealed their new starter set for D&D, Heroes of the Borderlands. So just as it might sound, we got a new edition, means a new D&D starter set, and Wizards of the Coast has one coming. It is basically, the starter set is the classic, like here you need everything just to get like level 1 through 3 or whatever adventure. And in fact, apparently Keep on the Borderlands was like the first starter set, I believe, is what we found out. It was like the first starter set they ever did, so kind of going full circle and bringing it back. So, Heroes of the Borderlands is the best way to introduce your friends and family to D&D, the biggest and easiest to get started set to date. It's been completely reimagined from the ground up to deliver fast 1-hour D&D sessions. It's never been easier to make D&D your game night go-to, as everything you need to play is included in a single box. The inclusion of componentized gameplay elements like cards help actualize the rules and make this a fast and fun experience for D&D players old and new. So, yeah, and I mean, like even the box, you can kind of see it in the background here. It does have that very kind of first edition feel in the art, like a revised version, that same kind of art scale genre there. Theme, there we go, that's the theme. It was as Rusty Beal said, it's a D&D adventure module by a.e.g.i.s, first printed in December 1979. So, yeah, I'd heard about it forever, but I'd actually never played it. And I think it's in that same book that also had the adventures that we played, that had like the White Plume Mountain that we played out of at the adventure.
Yep.
But was ranked the 7th greatest Dungeons and Dragon adventure of all time by Dungeon Magazine in 2004. Yeah. But I think it was like when we looked at it 2 weeks ago, they were saying like it was going to be like September before this came out, which is just kind of crazy long between, like we got the books and then the starter set being, 6 months or so from now.
Yeah, that's...
Which is funny because it was the other way around. Like the starter set came out first before the books came out. But I guess this time around, with everybody...
Which, they mentioned that here in the article.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, which is why it's weird that the 5.5e starter set is coming out after the core books.
Yeah, but the thing is, everybody already had all the books, so it's like an update. So you want everybody to like have the updated stuff, and the standard people aren't going to buy this. This is to get like all the new people in. So I guess when like the wave of 5.5 goes down, then they'll release this and it'll come back out. But Somebody mentioned, is anyone playing the 2024 version of D&D? And I think I've seen people excited for it at our local store. I don't know what they're playing because it's hard when you're just kind of walking by to know what people are playing. But I've definitely been seeing people pick up the books. Whether they're using them or not is a different story. Yeah, okay, here's a better picture of the starter set there. Images and content not final. So yeah, look for Heroes of the Borderlands later this year. The world's greatest role-playing game. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the most enticing starter set that they've come out with, because the previous ones, I don't think it's in this article, but the one we looked at a couple weeks ago where it had the 3 previous ones stacked up, they just look kind of like eh. Whereas this one does kind of look very vivid and like kind of screams pick me up off the shelf. The other ones were very kind of like the kind of black generic with like the standard artwork kind of on the front, like, oh, here's a dragon, you know. Whereas this looks like almost looks like the art's wrapping around the box. But then again, this isn't final, like it says on there. But yeah, like but Rusted Beetle says that the intro boxes have been nice. But they are definitely a good way to start, and will be available at Target. Yeah, that's another question. That could be a reason why they're delaying also, is to ramp up production so that it'll be in Target. I know you can get like the regular D&D books at Target sometimes. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was there also. Plus they do have, like, if they're going to sell the Avatar Legends starter set at the RPG starter set at Target, I don't see why not. So, all right. And with that, I'm going to bring us back to here, and then we can talk back with Jean about pixels. So, I got a confession, is that I backed the original Kickstarter for this. I want to say, was it 2020 or 21?
21.
Okay.
Yeah, 21.
I just remember, because it was both me and our other DM Chris both backed it, and I remember like a couple years ago, or maybe even been like a year ago, it got to talking about it, and I think he was like, "Yeah, if it ever comes out," or something like that, and I was like, to be fair, like there was like an update at least, like once a quarter, once a month or so, that was at least saying, everything that was going on and like what stage we were in. So I at least appreciated the communication. Like, I'm okay with the product being late as long as you're telling me why.
Yeah, it's been, oh my gosh, such a roller coaster, honestly, and still, still struggling with certain parts of it, but slowly getting all the dice made, getting them, shipped out little by little. But it's tough. Yeah, I didn't come from manufacturing at all, and mostly grossly underestimated the complexity of making something at scale, right? Like, I mean, it's probably a story you've heard before too from other Kickstarters, but you're like, oh yeah, I can totally make this, and look, looks great. But then when you try to make, tens and hundreds of thousands of something, it becomes very different. And so yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and you add in there, supply chain issues around the pandemic and all that stuff, and it was just awful.
How did it start? I saw something on the website that was like it started with like a Hackaday project or something.
It was, yeah, exactly. Hackaday had this like community platform where people share their, mostly electronics projects, because that's kind of what Hackaday is all about. And that's where I started, sharing my progress, trying to make an electronic die. At the time, it was just a 6-sided die, even. And it got a little bit of traction, and people liked it, and then eventually showed it at a couple conventions, and got encouraged to like actually try the D20, and then then try to make the D20, and then I was told like, you know what, you should make it recharge wirelessly, and I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, I have to try, kind of, and then do all the things, and then slowly little by little, sort of like found the product and the niche, of like who it would appeal to, because in the end, it is a fairly expensive thing, right? Like for a die. But fortunately, RPG players really, really, really like their dice, and so that was kind of like the match made in heaven. It's like, yeah, if I offer the right features, then they might be willing to actually pay more than they would for a full set from somebody else. And kind of like figured out like at the same thing at the same time. Online tabletops blew up because of the pandemic too, and it kind of like, oh yeah, those things could work together, etc. So, but actually, as it turns out, we did a survey of some of our backers recently, and most people actually just bought it from the looks, the fact that it lights up and it looks cool, and then the connectedness part of it is just like it's a plus, like an undeniable plus, but it's kind of like the thing that maybe just sealed the deal for them or something, right? But like what pulled them in was the fact that you could have like cool light up dice that you can show off to your friends, which I mean I totally get.
Yeah.
I only wish they could actually make sounds themselves. They don't. And
That's wave.
but they
That's
can.
wave
They
2,
can with
right?
the phone.
With the
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, but it's funny because actually an early prototype with the dice, I found these little tiny little like MEM speakers, whatever. It's like a technology, but anyway, to make like tiny little speakers. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to put one of those in a die and see what it does, and it didn't work. For starters, the little microcontroller that's inside the dice could only do like beeps and stuff. Like it's not powerful enough to like play an MP3 or something. But then the sound would also not come out because basically it's all like encased.
encased.
Stuff, so.
There's no air for it to expand.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of a silly idea, but I tried. It was there's a prototype somewhere in my bins, full of circuit boards of one of those. But yeah, the picture you're showing is kind of like what the insides look like. It's a little display I put together for PAX Unplugged.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought they were letters. I thought they were letters at first.
Yeah, I know. They could be, right? You're like Lebes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. It's just the different ways that I had to like unfold those different shapes, basically, to make the circuit board wrap around it. Which is that's essentially the trick to these dice having lights on all the sides and have a fairly decent battery, is that basically the lights wrap around the battery, so like the battery sits in the core in the center, and also makes it more as balanced as possible, and then the circuit board wraps around it. So that's what all those are. Like the first one you can tell is a D6, and then the other ones are 8, 10, 12, 20, and then the little plastic things, like little plastic tails that you see in the middle, those are used for registration when we actually do the resin. So the molds have like a negative of those shapes, and so we plug, basically push those into the molds, and that makes sure that the core where the LEDs are and all that stuff is nicely centered in the cavity, basically, because it has to have resin everywhere around it, so there's nothing else to hold it in place.
Right.
And so that's what those are. Yeah.
Was the getting them balanced, was that the hardest part? Like, because you could, you design everything and trying to keep it small, but then it's like, but it's also got to function as a dice.
So balance is like by far the number one sort of like question that people have about them. And um, the main sort of like focus for balance is actually on the quality of the edges, right? Because they're fully cast and because of the construction, the battery being the heaviest part, and then the coil, you can see the little copper winding thing.
Yep.
That's the charger, the wireless coil for charging. It's offset by the counterweight on the other side, which is like the little washer looking thing. You can see like the little
Yeah, I
brass
see it like
washer.
right there.
So because of those, that takes care of most, the weight imbalance. The rest of it is not significant enough to make a difference unless your edges are perfect, right? Because basically what affects, your fairness, contrary to what you picked, what you imagine in your head, is actually the fact that your edges are all the same, right? So you can imagine if you have a really rounded die, like on a D6, for instance, you can really tell. Like if you have a really sharp edge die and a really like rounded edge die, the rounded one will just sort of like tip over more easily than the sharp one. And so in terms of like overall balance of your die, fairness of your die, those effects, like the edges not being the same, will actually have more of an impact than the weight. Like the weight will only come into play once you've sorted out all these other issues, right? Or if you put it in water, because if you float it, then there's just no getting away from it.
Yeah.
But although these you'd have to you have to use something else. I haven't tried to find a liquid because like water they'll sink, but if you maybe tried some oil, you could probably float those.
Well,
Yeah.
what I'd always heard is salt water.
Salt water, yeah. I haven't tried actually.
That's
Salt.
what that was always the joke for us is like that's how you determine if it's balanced by doing salt water and throwing a die
Salt
in.
water, yeah. I feel like you would have to put a lot, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the amounts that you have to do for that.
Yeah, exactly. But so, and ultimately, if you care that much about balance, get some different, like some proper, like perfectly balanced dice. You know, it's kind of I know it's kind of important, but overall, is it really that important if your die is a little bit imbalanced? Probably the way you roll has more effect on your results than the die itself, or like we should all be using dice towers probably if we really cared, etc., etc. Right? Like so, ultimately, I'm like, yeah, we're doing everything we can to make the dice as balanced as possible, but they're not going to be perfect. They're not for Vegas. Get over it. Kind of, just or get something else if that's really what you care about.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the way it is that but and you mentioned how that you can customize them and everything, but
Mhm.
just in the default kind of like when you set it up, the when it hits the 20 and like it just lights up in the kind of the rainbow
Yep.
colors versus the one where it's like flashing red. Uh,
Mhm.
I mean, I know you can customize, and I was actually surprised when you get into the app and like how much you could customize it.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah.
That was where,
Totally.
yeah, because I don't know if you've messed around with the app settings some, Philip, but yeah, that's where some of those webhooks are, where you can set it like if I roll this, then do this.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. You can do so. We have like a few things like playing sound effects or text to speech, and then we have sort of a generic webhook, and we're working on more specific like sending to specific platforms. Hopefully, we'll have something to say about that like really soon. Uh, but we're definitely trying to like add the number of things you can do. Like I really wanted the dice to integrate with the what is it called, like the home automation things for like
oh yeah,
Apple
like the
and
home kit
Google.
and stuff.
Yeah, home kits and stuff. So you can do I don't know, roll for dinner or something. I don't know, like so or whatever, right? Like you could because once you're hooked up to one of those, you can really go nuts, right? Order some stuff off of Amazon based on the roll you made, or who knows?
What kind of toilet paper am I getting? Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Crap, we're getting one ply.
So, yep, yeah, exactly. And then of course, yeah, the part that's maybe slightly more relevant to, playing a game of D&D would be like controlling lights, or having some cool immediate reactions, right? Which is the nice part of it.
Yeah, Philip, I was just sitting here thinking while he was talking about it, like, could you imagine being the DM and having it sync, like having your game table lights, like say something like what I've got up here, synced up to them,
Yes.
to where the players can't see the die roll, but they see the lights react. So like, but you flip it. So like when the 20s rolled, that's when like the red lights go off, and so they don't know the number, but they're like, oh no.
Yeah. Somebody actually wants to use them for secret death saves. So
Oh.
where basically only the DM would know the result, the other players wouldn't. So it's like, use your die, to roll it. I know it because I'm connected to your die, or however they work it out, basically. But like, so the thing is, yeah, the other players don't know what, how well or not well you roll your death save, which I thought was interesting too. There's some aspects of that that could be add to the tension of like, is he gonna make it? Is he not gonna make it?
You can do something when the die is rolling.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the audio clip of Zoidberg whenever the die is rolling.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's really tons of stuff to do. They're mostly, for fun. There's a few very like practical uses of the dice. Like accessibility is definitely something that has gotten a lot of positive feedback. If you don't have really good vision, you can use the colors or sound to really help you when you roll, which is always nice. There's of course the connected to virtual tabletops, which is just maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Just slightly easier than doing, or not easier, more pleasant than doing virtual dice. But for the most part, they're just for fun, right? Because they look cool, and you can do all these gimmicks and all these things, which really just add to your enjoyment at the table, or when you're playing online. I see that you're showing the dice roller, so that's the thing we're adding. And in fact, I think I have a preview build with like full formula.
Oh.
Here. Yeah. So here.
Roll like you Wilhelm scream. There you go.
I don't know. Can you switch to mine?
If you share, if you've got it to where on Discord you share screen.
It will switch my video, I think. Wait, how do I change my video? No, that's
Oh yeah, roll a 1, you get the Wilhelm scream. That's what Beetle suggests.
Yeah. I mean, of course. That's roll a 20, you get the what is it? The Final Fantasy victory thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or for us, Philip, the goblin headshot.
Yes.
Yay!
Wait, yeah. How do I? Hold on one second. I'm trying to figure out how I switch my camera on this. 1 second. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Oop. There we go. Okay. Hey. So yeah. So this is I have a bunch of dice here. Actually, which one am I rolling? Yeah, that's the problem. I have so many. Oh, here. This one's connected. Okay. Cool. So. Oh no, more of them are connected. Oh, they're all connected. I forgot. But anyway, so yeah, so this is a little dice roller. So we're not trying to do here. This way. Maybe focus. 1 second. There we go. Not trying to do like a full character sheet type of thing, but doing at least some. The quality is not so great. I don't know if you can read that, but anyway, we have basically support for like simple formulas where you can go, okay, I want to do like I don't know, 3d20s, right? So I'm gonna roll. I only have 2 right here. It fills in the thing. Since I only had 2, I re-rolled 1, and it did the total. Doing the math like you would do formulas on most VTTs.
Right.
But just and so we have a few, like so you can do 1d20, and then you can quickly do advantage, disadvantage, etc. Add guidance. But the build I have right now just added like the full like formula thing, so I can do
Oh.
like like I don't know, 1d20 comma or d20 comma I don't know 2d12, and then I can put like what is it, parentheses, and I can do like keep highest 2. I think that works. Does that work? Yeah, I think so. No, invalid. Oh, it's telling me it's invalid. How does this work? Oh, I think I do plus. I don't know, but anyway, if you've ever typed like fancy formulas on,
Oh yeah, I was
say,
like Excel. Yeah, I was
yeah,
getting some Excel
like
trauma.
yep, exactly. You can do like, oh, there we go. Yeah, 1d20 plus 2d12, and it kind of updated the thing here. And I thought I could do keep highest 1. No? Oh, well, anyway, I don't know how oh, maybe it's brackets, but whatever. But anyway, um, actually don't know how it works. But so yeah, you can do the actual roll. I don't know if I have some d12s. Oh, yes, I did. How about this one? And this one too. There we go. And it did the results, and it did 1d20 plus 2d12, which is senseless. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And then yeah, the rest of it was like, oh yeah, you can change the profiles for the colors and stuff. So like if I
Yeah, so you
put
can
this
customize them
on,
per game if you're playing different
yeah,
genres of
yeah,
games.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so here, right, so this is the fire, and if I change it to fountain, I think I like fountain. It does a little effect that's different. And if I roll a 12, it does one with like multiple colors.
Ooh, that's fancy.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of like default ones, and then you can go in and customize and change all the rules, and customize nope, oops, customize the pattern itself. So for instance, here it's like the colors it's using. I can go
Right.
like, oh no, I'm going to change that to green and blah blah blah, etc. Tons and tons of customization. In fact, we really want to add a lot more, but things take time. So now if I roll my 12, it's going to do more green, although I don't know if it's coming across on camera. But and then of course we have like this to make it like speak. So now if I put my sound on the phone, I don't know if you heard that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, does it say 3? 9?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, it's saying the numbers. That's nice.
yeah. So this is like really yes, really useful. You can also do, like I said, sound effects, or the webhooks we were talking about, and those you have to like, I don't know, put the stuff you want. Like you can connect it to Discord, or blah blah blah, a bunch of stuff. And we're trying to add as much as we can, as fast as we can.
It's like
Um,
it's like a real
and
nerd's die.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
completely. It's like, and
all the different options.
yeah, and I try to mostly I present it this way, which is like you can take your nerdiness as far as you want. Like you don't even have to install the app on your phone. You can just have a die that lights up, because they come out of the box with little light pattern pre-programmed. But if you want, you can customize it, and then if you want, you can connect it to your things, and if you want, you can
Right.
you can just keep going as much as you want. It's like um, like I like the idea of that there's not really a barrier, or like a level you have to feel comfortable at. You just, whatever your comfort is, is where you can use the dice. There's been way too many attempts at adding like tech to sort of tabletop games
Yeah.
that have felt more of a hurdle than just a plus, like an addition, right? where it's like, wait, no, you can't roll your die yet. You have to like press these 4 buttons
Oh yeah.
and thing and tell the thing, and then you can, right? And because if you don't, then it's the whole system is going to be messed up, right?
And I will say pairing it was like as easy as pairing like your headset to your tablet or phone, whatever you're using.
Thank you. Yes, or try really hard. The you know what's funny? I have to share this just because I'm annoyed at it. There is a limit on how many Bluetooth device you can pair on your phone, and
Oh, I
it's
bet.
not documented anywhere by any manufacturer, and it changes from model to model. From like literally, iPhone 12 and 13 will have different numbers, and all the different Android devices. Yeah, it's actually been the most difficult part of the pairing process for us, is the handling like a certain number of dice, because depending on the phone you have, like sometimes it's as low as like 7,
Right.
uh, which if you have like headphones connected, well, that's only 6 left
Right.
basically, and now you can't even have a full set of dice.
Hold on, let me
uh,
let me disconnect my D4 so I can roll my sneak attack
yeah,
dice.
exactly, right. And
Yeah.
in fact, like that's how we have to do some of it, of like uh when for instance we ask you like, oh, do you want to update your dice, right? It has to like cycle through and like disconnect, reconnect, disconnect, reconnect, to like try to handle all these things. And it's kind of like, the things that I guess is not that common to have, that many Bluetooth devices connected to your phone. But yeah, it's interesting. Like literally, like the developer and I have been like scouring the documentations for like any sort of sense, like, okay, how do I find out? Like, is there something we can set? And it's like, no, it depends. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 15, sometimes. But yeah, so. But fortunately, most phones actually can handle a full set. You might
Nice.
have to turn off your AirPods, but
Turn off
it's a
your
small
AirPods.
sacrifice.
Turn your watch off.
Turn your watch off, or yeah,
Or
that's
you
one thing
just
I
or you
really
just do
also
your
want to do.
tablet.
Like,
You just get a tablet and you don't have as
yeah,
much stuff connected to your tablet like your phone.
yep. Um, but speaking of, like, I would love to actually hook it up directly to a watch. Something we haven't done yet, but for accessibility specifically, I think that would be super cool. Like,
Or also the sound. I know that you're
yeah,
able to
yeah,
do
yeah,
some
totally, yeah,
sound out
yeah,
of the
no,
watch.
yeah, exactly. It's like, so don't have to like have the phone even, sitting on the table. You could just have your watch.
I
And I
didn't even
think,
think about it until you showed off the text to speech and I saw the accessibility on the website.
yeah,
But like, if you're blind or, hard of seeing, just that text to
mhm,
speech where you get the feel of like, oh, I can roll the dice, but also
yeah,
still get that like benefit of, oh, what did I roll?
yeah, no, and like I was completely ignorant of it when I created the dice, and it's when I showed it, I think it was a Gen Con before the Kickstarter. I showed like early prototypes, and a guy walked up to me and like told me about his friend that they're playing with. They've been playing with forever, and his friend is blind, and they have to tell him what he rolls. And he's like, this would give him sort of like ownership on his rolls
Right.
again. Not be. I mean, it's not like it's a problem for us to read the rolls for him. Of course, we always do it, but it's still that slight little bit of like
Making him
he's
feel like he
dependent.
isn't reliant on
Yeah,
other
yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah, exactly. He's relying on it, and he's like, with this you could do this, and that kind of like really sold me. Then I'm like, oh yeah, actually that's something we could easily do. And it's like it's easy. It became the point of like, oh, it's easy to do the right thing. Like, so why shouldn't we? Like, why
Right.
wouldn't we? And so yeah, and so since then we've had a few more like feedback from people sort of along the same lines, like, this lady telling us about her kid, who's just been playing with the dice all day because she can finally like, know what she rolls, and etc etc. So it's good. It's nice.
And I will say we've been showing off the die for people curious how it charges. It's got a very, I will say, kind of AirPod-y case. It's like if you can
Yes.
imagine what an AirPod case would look like for your die, a little cradle that it is, at least for the single die that it just sets in. It's USB-C powered.
Yep. And for the sets, it's it's even more like an AirPod case because this has room for actually it has room for 8. You can put a I can't know where I'm pointing. Yeah. You can put an eighth die here, like you just pop this out and put another whatever you want. But it also has its own battery, so it's even more like the AirPod
Oh,
case.
okay.
So
It
it'll,
charges on the
it'll
go.
like, yeah, it'll keep them topped up basically. Um, Although honestly, the dice last a really long time. Like I don't know how much you've played with yours, but overall, like they really only need to be recharged infrequently.
I did
I've
see
played
that
with
because
this
like
thing 0 since we got it at PAX until yesterday.
yeah.
Oh
And
no!
it was still 43% charged.
Hey,
Yeah,
nice.
I had to recharge it like the week after PAX, but that's because I had been taking it everywhere and showing everybody, like you were talking about.
Oh,
So
thank you,
like
thank you.
it was just because I work with a bunch of nerds and they're just all like, oh, they wanted to see like all the goodies, you
Yep,
know.
yep, yep, yep. Yeah, and I'm actually really proud of it because it's funny. It might be too like I don't want to get too deep in the technicals, but like when you're trying to save as much power as possible, like the the scale of things really becomes different. So for instance, the thing that uses the most power on the dice are the LEDs, like because they're so small, like and the battery is tiny. It's like I can't remember. I think it's like 0.02 watt power, something like that. Like it's just a minuscule amount, right? Because it's like literally, you can imagine it's at the center of this thing. It's really, really tiny. Um, and you're saving power everywhere you can. And actually, the Bluetooth, for instance, uses not much power at all. Like an LED turning on is like almost 1,000 times more power than the Bluetooth. It's like yeah, it's crazy. Whereas like if on anything like that I've ever designed before, like LEDs are just, I don't know, things you don't think about. Like you just throw one on for showing the status of something, or you don't really think about it. But here it's like, oh yeah, the Bluetooth consumes like 20 microamps, and an LED is like 20 milliamps, which are both incredibly small amounts. Like they're just, but one is 1,000 times larger than the other, right? And so you're like, oh yeah, so all this stuff to save power, only is only important when the LEDs are not on. Because if the LEDs are on, these things is negligible. And so yeah, it's a very interesting sort of like thing to like consider.
And there's
Oh
not even
yeah,
just like single types. Like you saw, you were showing off you had one of the clear ones there, I believe, and like there's
mm-hmm.
the Aurora. I think that's what Philip and I
Yep,
have
yep,
is the
yep,
Aurora
yep, yep.
Sky, but like the Midnight Galaxy
Yep.
looks amazing, and then
Mm-hmm.
the Hematite Gray and the Onyx Black both look pretty
Yeah.
sweet as well. Where you get more of like the letters, or excuse me, the
Mm-hmm.
numbers lighting up than the actual dice. It looks like.
Exactly. Yep. That's the main difference. Like the first three are like sort of like shining everywhere. And in fact, when they're like full bright, you can't read the numbers. You have to wait for the lights to turn off.
Right.
The other ones are kind of the opposite, where they only shine through the numbers. The midnight and the hematites are the ones that have been giving us issues actually, like manufacturing, because they're more complicated to make. Because essentially, you can imagine they need it's a two-step process. Like you have to make the sort of like whitish part where the light is going to shine, and
Yeah.
then do the sort of like, it's not really an overmold, but it's kind of the same idea of like over top of it put the opaque resin, and tolerances are small, and things and all that, and so those are more complicated to make. But yeah, they look pretty striking, like especially when those numbers light up. It's really it's really cool, and you can totally see, well, at least I can totally see like future designs that really take advantage of the lights. Like I've been wanting to make like a what do you call it, like cyberpunk slash Tron inspired die design, where like you have lights, I don't know, just you think of lights and shapes and stuff. And I feel like there's a ton of like really cool designs out there that are just waiting to be like put into a pixel, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, anything or like a light core or something. But yeah. So
And for you
but right
Fate
now these are the ones, yeah.
for you Fate
And
fans, there's even fudge dice versions.
yes. Yeah, that was a stretch goal actually. And to be completely honest, I regret it because it was not that popular. So like now I'm sitting with like a queue of literally like 10 fudge in a certain colorway. I can't remember, that I'm gonna have to fulfill, that, really not worth it. Because it's like, I mean, because like, yeah, like literally I think it's the set of
Like people
fudge.
want it, but the amount of people is like,
Yeah,
very
exactly.
probably pretty small.
Yeah, and it's, whatever. We'll do one-offs for those or whatnot. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, as soon as those are fulfilled, and we're gonna get rid of them from the store, because I don't think, there's enough people that play with fudge dice.
You're already talking
Uh,
about a niche kind of item. You don't need to go like super second level niche.
exactly.
Although, if
So
you
I
started
think,
making Star Wars dice, suddenly, like, I know our group would buy some,
Uh-huh.
but probably not a whole lot.
I mean, what my hope is that, with time, it becomes cheaper to make, custom dice and stuff, so it won't be quite as steep of an investment to get,
Right.
Star Wars dice or any other, customized dice. I think that would be totally possible.
But I mean, we've been speaking in a very RPG sense. But I
Mhm.
mean, you've got D6s and stuff here. People, there's Tabletop Simulator. I can only
Uh-huh.
imagine that it's. I don't know if anybody's done it yet in the Discord, but I gotta imagine that won't be too hard. That couldn't be that hard compared to some of these other things of using,
Correct.
connecting
Yeah.
your dice to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone, like, we haven't tried directly. I don't know if anyone in our Discord has that, because we have a number of developers that, go and try things and hook up. But I don't know if Tabletop Simulator is one that they've tried. I think the worry there is that people might expect the roles to look exactly the same,
Mm.
right? But it's not that smart. Like, it doesn't know
Right.
exactly how it's like, tumbling
Oh, the
over in
mechanics of it. Yeah.
yeah, and so maybe that's why people, like, I don't know, stopped trying to implement it. But I don't know, it could still be doable. The 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 mechanic or the mechanic
Trigger.
the algorithm to actually like make the roll end up on the face that you want is something that, like, all the virtual tabletops have solved already.
Right.
Because when you think about it, right, like they show you like a 3D, like, physical base, die rolling, but the roll is actually determined by some, random number generator. And so what they do is they actually figure out like how to, like, rotate things in space so that it actually lands on the right face. So they could do the same for Tabletop Simulator for sure.
Or
Of
some of them,
like,
what I've seen do is they show the die without numbers until it
without
finishes.
numbers. Oh, I haven't seen that
Yeah, where
actually.
it's just like you just see
it
the
spins so fast you
you
can't
So
just
read it
you just see the
until
shape
it
roll and
lands.
then it lands on the number. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so much easier. So much easier. Like, look, it's the ninja smoke kind of thing.
Yeah.
Look, it just happened.
But
Um,
speaking of integration,
Go ahead.
so we mentioned Foundry. I don't know if that was before the show or not. We mentioned Foundry is the only first party support as of
Correct.
now, correct?
Yes. So we have support for D&D Beyond and Roll20, and a couple others, like, Discord, which is not really as adjacent platform, but a lot of people play on use Discord. But those two use a like a Chrome extension, and essentially, hack both websites to make them work. It looks super slick and, like, integrated, but it is, a third party thing. we're trying to get first party support. It just takes time, and anytime you have to convince somebody to spend developer money,
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's always difficult. It's like, uh, and so for the moment, we have third party support, and you can absolutely play. Foundry being, as open as they are, we're like super excited to just do first party support. And it's a good platform. So, I encourage anybody to actually use Foundry over other platforms. We have a couple other actually first party uh, that are in progress, but I don't think I can talk about it yet. So look out for those in the future. But yeah, the idea, the intent is to, support as many as possible, either through first party or third party, or just making it work. The One of the big advantages is that anybody can pick up a pixel and start hacking at it if they want. Like any developer, anyone who has some developer experience can grab the code, start hooking things into whatever they want. There's some of the demos we've seen are just like people like reading in a D&D Beyond character sheet, like an export, like the PDF that you can export, and just importing that into their own thing, and then have giving you a full roller from that, which is super fun. But yeah, and so the support you will get out of Foundry is probably going to be better than other places because it's first party, but it does work without issue on any others. I could show you D&D Beyond if you want. I have it set up, but otherwise people can just uh, look it up
And like you said,
themselves and make
there's
it
the
out.
Discord is probably also a good place for
Yeah, it's
resources.
definitely the best place to get information on what's going on, and help on, especially if people that are interested in development, and integrating, or connecting their dice to their hue lights or whatever they want in their house. It's definitely where there's the most information and resources. We're putting together a forum as well, so that information can be more organized, but that's still in progress essentially.
Yeah,
Because
because
yeah,
we
I
did.
don't know about you guys, but like Discord is great for having conversations, but like if you're looking for information,
Oh
it's not
yeah.
always great. It's like, how do I
If you
do
want
that? Well, actually,
documentation.
yeah, it's like, how do I do that? Oh, well, look at this message from a month ago, and you get a scroll thing that scrolls way back up, and then you try
Yeah.
to find the it's like, so yeah, it's been a very interesting challenge for us to find a good way to marry those two, because like we have several thousand people that we really don't want to alienate by like moving over to like another platform, but at the same time, like we want a place for documentation to be like live on, like a wiki or something,
I
or
was about to say, I think
forum.
a wiki sounds about like up
Yeah.
there because it's like Discord's good for like active development, and then it's like once you've proven something, then you can like
Yep.
save
Exactly.
it
So
basically.
I
But and we didn't
I
explicitly
know that.
mention it, but it is open source. The all
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, 100%. In fact, all the way down to like the circuit board, like schematics and all that. So if if you're interested in like how they work, there's a way to get to that information. If you're want to know what the code on the dice looks like you can look at that too. If you want to just look at how they integrate with certain other platforms, you can look at that. So yeah, that's a very actually big part of my philosophy and philosophy of Pixels, of sharing and being open source. um, I've benefited personally a lot from open source projects, from people sharing how they build things and etc. And um, I've been wanting to do the same for creating these dice, and so far it's really been like a net positive, right? Like there's the fact that we share as much as we do, just in terms of like the manufacturing process, for instance, or the design, etc., has only come back, with like good vibes and positive feedback, or like great ideas from the users. Like, the I mentioned it very early on, the wireless charging is something that somebody suggested, because at the time I was so convinced it was impossible, or it would just be way too much work, or etc. And the fact that somebody was like, you know what, you could try this, actually sort of like, give me that little extra nudge to give it a
Yeah,
shot, and
that
then
extra
figure out that,
perspective.
oh wait, yeah, we can do it. And actually, I mean, it was a challenge and blah, all that stuff, but the fact that, yeah, people will have, just different perspectives and make suggestions and etc. has been really, really good.
Have you thought about
And
reaching out to like
oh,
schools? Like,
say again.
I said,
Sorry.
have you thought about reaching out to like schools? Because I could see this as a cool coding like a neat
Yes.
way to get kids into coding.
Yes. So far we've only reached to like university level.
Yeah,
So because we're thinking of like either the game development programs or the computer science programs, that could benefit, or have cool projects basically using the dice, right? We're thinking exactly what you're imagining, like a what do you call it, like a year-end project type of thing
yeah,
for a small group of students to like develop an iPad game or something, in Unity, and use the dice as an interface or something, right? Or whatever, right? And that could stretch the sort of computer science, aspects on like, oh, how do you talk to this thing, and Bluetooth and blah blah blah, and the design, the game design aspects also of like, oh, how do you make a game that uses an input device that's kind of odd, compared to what you're used to, and lots of stuff like that. And so far that's what we reached out to. I don't think we have yet been taken up on the offer, but we only started like this year talking to a couple universities.
right.
Um, I don't know about high school. It could be a little high bar of entry. I'm not sure actually. I don't know enough about like the level of specifically like game or computer science classes at high school. I know there's like, it's a big thing now. Like I've
Yeah,
seen high schools where like, yeah, the computer lab is like basically a bunch of kids, booting up like Game Maker or something and trying to make their own games, and it's
Or
insane to
the
me.
robotics clubs.
Or the
yeah,
Robert,
like
yeah,
all the
exactly, the
STEM stuff.
robotics club,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm thinking as
yeah,
basic of using the tools you've already got, like the
yeah.
teaching kids like the webhooks kind of thing of like,
Hmm.
oh, the thinking of
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
this
much simpler.
role when
Yes.
this is rolled, do this, and just that kind of
Yep.
like early level of this is what you can do,
Hmm.
and then to kind of like tease that that thinking to get them
Yeah, like
interested into looking more into something.
totally. That's actually, yeah, that's a good idea, and probably much more achievable at that level than like trying to build a like a game
A
or
dev
something.
kit kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Because it'd be like, whoa.
Awesome. Well,
So
one of the questions we had in the chat, because so if you look at the products page, like right now, because you're still, from
Mhm.
what I saw, you're still in fulfillment for a lot of the Kickstarter stuff. Uh,
Correct. So we really only have a few dice for sale that you can get right away, because essentially the rest of them, the sets and the other models, we're still doing fulfillment for our backers. Uh, and so you can get D20s right now. And then, as soon as we're done with the Kickstarter fulfillments, we'll have the full, sets that you can order, and then individual dice of other types. Like there's a pip D6 even. So we have the sort of like RPG D6, which, is this
right.
guy. But then we also have these guys, which are, if I can turn it on, put a magnet to it. Hello, hello. It's not turning on. Oh, not turning on. Well, anyway, but these guys have LEDs on each little pip, which is
Ooh.
kind of neat. So they just look slightly different. But this one won't turn on, so don't buy this one. Um, and yeah, and so all those will be available very soon. The
Do you have a target of when you're hoping to get the rest of them back in stock? Like at least
it's
like summer or
it's gonna be fall most likely.
okay.
We were a very successful Kickstarter, and so the backlog of of orders of fulfillment is pretty big. So my guess is it's gonna be probably late summer. Um,
Just in time for Gen Con.
yeah, I'm hoping that would be nice, but we'll see. We'll see how things go, right? Like right now our priority is still, making sure, we take care of our backers because they've been patiently waiting for, 4 years now.
Yep.
And speaking of, like, one of the other, advantages of being very transparent with the process and how we do things has been really helpful for the backers to, remain calm and patient, because every time we try to give, well, this is what happened, and we tried this and this thing, it didn't work at all, and then so we're trying this and we're doing that and blah blah, and so that has been really beneficial for us. But yeah, so the it would be nice, but I don't know if we're gonna make it by then. Also, you can't get into Gen Con unless you applied like 4 years in advance or
Oh,
something.
that's right. They got like huge waiting lists. You just
Yeah.
you just need to set up a table in the hallway.
Yeah. Or get a coat, like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
outside.
Or the or like because they got the stadium now. You just need the like I'm thinking like the baseball guy with like get your hot dogs in your hand. Just like
yeah.
had like the little strap
Yeah.
strap with the box, and you just go up and down like get your D20s, get your D6s.
Oh my God. Careful, Katie's gonna make me do it. She's like, wait. So yeah, so I don't know that we'll be at Gen Con, but it would be great. Yeah. It'll be either way, they'll be available for the public, hopefully around that time. Yeah. So
Gotcha. But gamewithpixels.com is where you want to,
Yep.
or is there any social media for keeping up that, or just follow the Discord?
we're on all the socials, usually Game with Pixels. We try to get that same tag everywhere. TikTok, actually, recently we started being on TikTok too, which is interesting. Otherwise, yeah, Discord if you want to chat with people that actually have dice, get their feedback or see what they think. Website if you want to get a little bit more information. Or order some D20s, because these are the most important after all. And it is the king of dice. Yeah, and I think that's those main places actually.
I don't know. I feel
we're
like the
on.
D6 is your king of dice.
Yeah, okay, fine. No, it's like the D6 is like the
The
one
everyman's
that's been
dice.
there forever. It's like the
It's the everyman's dice.
yeah, it's
It's the blue
it's like
collar dice.
it's the patriarch, but like the D20 is really the one that's actually doing all the work.
Ah.
It's like the
Well, reverse of us. The D20 is like the blue collar, and then
yeah.
it's doing all the D6 is just the lord that's been around forever.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
got
Yeah,
born
you're right.
he got
Yeah,
born
exactly.
into it.
Mm-hmm. Just benefiting from generations and generations of wealth. No.
How many D6s was your like ultimate sneak attack up to there, Chris?
I think I got up to 12.
It was 12. Yes.
I think I did get up to 12 because it was like I think I got up to 66, and then when you do when you have a crit, which if you go first and they haven't hit yet, you auto crit, you double. So it was like 12 D6s.
Well, oh my God.
Phil, you're getting signed up to be the they
I
suggested
see. I'm getting signed up to be
a
so
dice.
so we've got it.
So they
figured out
suggested
for
a
Gen
dice
Con.
cart.
It's gonna be a cart.
All
Just
right,
pushing
yeah.
it, doing
Yeah, yeah,
laps.
yeah. No, you have to hold. You have to have the suspender thing. Yeah, for sure. With the,
That might get a little sore on the shoulders after a while.
Yeah.
It needs to be that Mary Poppins.
Wait, no.
That giant musical contraption that Dick Van Dyke was wearing.
The
Oh my
cart.
God, yeah, I see what you mean, yeah.
we got pixels in the chat. The cart has been ordered.
Nice. So, but yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, hoping to have cool, exciting news soon. On availability, on integrations, all the cool things you can do with pixels. And if nothing else, they're just fun light up dice.
Yeah, and I am going. There are plans in the works for. I specifically made sure to get Phil and I some so that we could use them here on the stream. So there is. You will be seeing them a lot more. I just haven't had a chance yet. I need to join the Discord and just see what everybody's been working on.
Awesome.
So, all right, Philip, you got any other questions?
So you had mentioned there's a limit to the number of Bluetooth devices that a phone can handle. It would be annoying because it'd be an entire rework of everything you've ever done. But would there be a way for
like a
all
hub?
of the dice, all of the dice connect to the charging case, and then the charging case connects to the phone?
Yes. So there's actually, we have like two sort of things in the works, or sort of we're trying. So the dice can actually support, I don't know what they call it, like multi-protocol communication, where essentially you could connect to some of the dice via Bluetooth, and then the dice could talk to each other to sort of like disseminate information. So like a what do they call it, mesh
Yeah, mesh
networking or
network.
whatever, right? I have to see there might be some like hardware limitations, blah blah blah, but it's one of the avenues we're looking into. The other is indeed the charging case. So this charging case actually does have a Bluetooth chip as well, so it can like report to to your phone like its own state of charge or whatever. The small one, the one that comes with the singles, the one that you have, does not. It's really dumb. It's it's literally has one chip on it that takes care of the charging and then a few extra components.
You're
But
not
this
dumb,
one
little
does.
buddy. You're perfect.
Yeah,
Just the way you are. You're not
don't
dumb.
let him. Yeah, it's like no, it's dumb. And so with these, it's actually absolutely something that could be doable, which is like it would act as a relay, and because I'm very aware that it's just not pleasant experience to have to like juggle how the dice are connected, even if it's the app tries to do it automatically, which right now it's what it tries to do. It's just like it adds delays of like, disconnecting from one die, reconnecting to another, and you don't see what like your rolls don't come up immediately, and it feels weird, and anything that's gonna basically like add friction to your experience is something that I just really want to get rid of. So definitely looking into multiple options to do that, and what you're suggesting is actually one of them. Yeah.
Is there a little bit of memory on the die?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've noticed that like if I roll it and it's not connected to the app, and then like it connects, it'll suddenly like pop up with like the numbers that it rolled, like the last couple of numbers.
So it depends. So it does have memory, although we're not using it to store the rolls for the moment. What you're seeing though is a different weird behavior, which is specific to maybe iOS. I don't know, but what some of the platform of the two, iOS or Android, which is that actually the app still receives the messages, just nothing happens until like you reactivate it or reopen it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got all the Bluetooth, right? It's a weird like OS level thing where like the dice is still connected to your phone, basically. That's the gist of it. But then it like kind of like, queues up.
It
all
needs a
these
software key
messages.
to just like show the
Yeah.
messages.
Yeah, exactly right. And so we're not handling it quite, elegantly for the moment. So when you reopen the app, it just like gets all these Bluetooth messages basically of like, oh, whoa, all this happened, and we'll take care of it. It's all things that we know we have to take care of, like basically being able to receive the rolls while the phone screen is off, so they can forward it to like other places, because that's another thing, like sending to the webhooks or all that
Right.
stuff that we were talking about. We want to make sure that, but all the phone manufacturer have very specific like constraints with how you can use Bluetooth while
And
the
it's
phone is
different
turned
per,
off, and it's different per thing, and it's just it just takes time for us to write the code to do all that, and we're really really small team, like there's less than 5 people total, so everything takes a little bit longer because of that. We don't have like the army of developers that I wish we had. I really do, because there's so many ideas to do. Like, I want to be able to like voice control the app to say like, hey, I want to roll 2d20s, or whatever. I want to roll an advantage, and it just kind of understands me, and then I roll my dice, and I don't have to like go tap a button and say like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. There's tons and tons of cool stuff like that I really want to do.
Awesome. Like I said, we talked about game with pixels.
Yep.
Everywhere. With that, Philip, I think it's time to roll us out of here.
All right.
And that's been our show. We want to thank Jean for joining us, putting up with Chris's horrible jokes. You saw him. It was great. He left and he came back. It was great. If you like what you see, you got to check us out, boardsandswords.com/live. It's got the link to our streaming channel plus the schedule. And then if you just peruse the entire site, there's blog posts that Chris did back in the day. I don't know if he's doing that still. We got
I'm still doing it.
Old show. We see Chris does a little bit of stuff. We got the old shows and old episodes. Check out boardsandswords.com. Also, boardsandswords.com/Patreon. It'll take you to our Patreon page. You can help support the show and give us suggestions and get your favorite board games dad joked. You will groan.
On the show. I'll do them on the show. But yeah, feedback at boardsandswords.com. Let us know who we need to have on the show next. You can also follow me on Blue Sky. I'm at boardsandswords.com. But like you said, the website's got links to everything, like the Patreon, like you mentioned. Check it out. Help support the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to have Tom on from Evil Hat Productions. I just happened to get accepted into their creator list, and like my Blue Sky followers just like blew up. I got added to one of those starter packs. So like every time I opened up Blue Sky, it was like 10 more people for a couple of days. So that was really nice. But yeah, Tom's going to come on and talk to us about some more RPG goodness. So in the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and this one lights up. And is also is cat accepted. All right.
Hey.
All right, everybody. We're gonna say goodnight here, and then for patrons, we'll be jumping onto the patron channel for extra stuff here in a little bit. So just give us like 5 minutes. But thanks everybody. I'm gonna shut the stream down.